Howdy, this is Matt Wendling, president of Drill Team Dynamics Incorporated, and this video is being released in light of the tragedy in Texas. By now, I'm sure you know the details. We don't have to reiterate those, but yet again, we're faced with a tragic, horrific situation in our schools. And as practitioners of the drill team activity, we are often handling around, involved with things that look like operable firearms. And so we're going to take this moment to talk about some of the things that we can do to safeguard not only ourselves, but future participants of this activity, to make sure that everyone who's participating on a drill team or a color guard, whether you're doing it individually as a soloist, whether you're with a team, however you're choosing to interact with this activity, that we can do so in a safe manner, and that we can make sure that this activity is alive for years and years to come for the benefit of those who will come after us. So let's talk about safety, and let's talk about how we're going to practice, and we'll try to keep this brief so that we can run it down and make it real simple. Starts with our attire. How do we look? If we are practicing with a team, the best thing we can do is wear similar like team-branded, school-branded attire. Why? Because when somebody glances across a parking lot or they happen to see you practicing with the team, people that look like they are doing some sort of team activity are far less likely to arouse any kind of suspicions. If you're by yourself, maybe you have some team gear of the local high school. Even if you graduated, maybe you can practice in the old junior ROTC shirt that has very clearly the high school colors where you're living, right? We have a drill team shirt, something that clearly denotes us as a participant in a military performing based activity. That's what we want. Next, let's talk about selection of practice area. Where we choose to practice is incredibly important. Whether it's ourselves at our home or in a local park somewhere, whether it's the drill team at the school, we need to select somewhere that is not well trafficked. In other words, we don't want to set up right next to a busy road where somebody could drive by and just catch a glimpse of us and make a call to law enforcement. Hey, there's somebody out here with a gun. They may not even see you long enough to see that all you're doing is throwing it up in the air and trying to catch it. We need to choose our practice area very carefully. And on top of that, we need to make sure that even if it's just yourself in your backyard or on your driveway, we need to make sure that it's clearly marked. Cones are great. If you are practicing at school with your team, we recommend bringing your team or school guide on out and posting it. Anything that gives a clear image of a coordinated, organized team activity that is military in nature, that's going to go a long way. Furthermore, and this is especially true if we're practicing at home over the summer or we're doing the post-high school thing, making sure that we are communicating with anyone in the vicinity who could be aware of what it is that we're doing. So we're talking to our neighbors. We're talking to, if we have permission to use a local park kind of an area, we're communicating with our local law enforcement. If you're at a college practicing, we've communicated with the appropriate authorities, whether it's campus law enforcement or whether it's housing, whoever might be responsible or capable of granting you those permissions. Let's make sure that they're aware of what's happening. Obviously, if we're at the school, they may be familiar with the junior ROTC program, but still being really clear to talk to the faculty and to talk to the staff of the school, especially those that might be in the immediate vicinity of practice, letting them know from the beginning of the year, hey, this is what we're doing. We'd love for you to come check it out, and we'd love to show you what it is we're doing, but just make sure that people are aware. Next, let's talk about moving to and from practice. We recommend moving your rifles in a nondescript manner. In other words, obviously we don't want to have them out. We don't want to be carrying them out if we can help it. We love these scabbards from the Rifle Flow folks. We'll leave a link down in the description to those. We love them because they don't scream firearm. It doesn't look like a gun case at Walmart, and the gun case naturally begets the question of what's in the case, right? What could be in that firearm case? And so we want something that is going to not draw attention to us. And when we get to practice, we've laid out our drill area, and it's time to uncase the rifles. First and foremost, we want to make sure that, you know, it's good practice to lay everything down in a unique, uniform, regimented type fashion, specific to our team. But we want to make doubly sure we do that, and immediately upon getting the rifle out, we want to start moving it. Obviously, the best thing we can do is spin it. But if we are a color guard team, and the flags are still getting their gear together, the best thing we can do is get together, start hitting whatever it is that we know with our manual of arms regulation drill. Same thing is true with the drill team. If you don't know how to spin, if you're immediately moving the rifle in a clearly military fashion, that's going to go a long way to making sure that the first appearance of those drill rifles is one that is clearly coordinated and, again, clearly and intentionally non-threatening. Now, let's talk about what happens in the case that somebody drives by practice, drives by and sees you, isn't sure what's going on, and contacts local law enforcement. Immediately upon their arrival, we need to ground the rifle. We need to step back, we need to have our hands clearly visible, and we need to comply with any requests. We need to answer any questions. Many of the times, these individuals are familiar with junior ROTC. They may even be former drill team participants. Really cool. We've met a lot of folks that were familiar with the activity because they were former participants. Those are the interactions we're hoping for. And sometimes we get so caught up in what we're doing because it's so clearly non-threatening that we may move to address the officers. We may want to continue to show them what we're doing. The best thing we can do is we can put that firearm down. I can tell you this, as someone who had an encounter with law enforcement following the tragedy at Virginia Tech when I was an undergrad student, those interactions are tense and those officers are unsure of what they're walking into. We need to do everything that we can to make sure that we leave that encounter as safely as we came to practice before it happened. Y'all, this is an issue bigger than any singular drill team. This is an issue bigger than any singular participant in this activity. This is more important than spinning, competing, even being on the drill team. The most important thing that we want for everyone who is enjoying the drill team activity is that you come to practice and you leave practice. Anything that we can do to make sure that that happens in a safe fashion, we want to do. So if you have questions, please leave them down in the comments. If you need guidance or recommendations, we're happy to provide as much of that as we possibly can, because at the end of the day, we all together are the safeguards. We're the guardians of this activity, not just for ourselves, but for those who would come after us and continue to enjoy it as well. So whatever we can do to make sure that that continues to be something that they can enjoy, that's what we want to accomplish. Thanks for hanging with us. Obviously, as these tragedies somehow continue to rock our nation, we need to be ever vigilant. We need to be mindful of all these things. We need to be communicating these to others. Share this video. Talk to your teammates. Talk with your instructors about developing that safety plan to implement with the team. Do whatever you can, because it very well may be that the future of the activity is in your hands.